All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Top 10 by Geek Vibes Nation. As always, I'm your host, Tia, and I have the amazing Brittany with me today. As always, how you doing, Brittany?
I was going to say, I always started out with talking about the cats because apparently when I sit down to do a podcast, they're like, yes, good, you're trapped. Hello. And I all like to smother all five of them.
Yeah, the cats leave me alone while I'm doing the top 10. I got Lady over on the couch there and everything. And of course, the cats, I feel like, gravitate towards Paulie more and they're like, screw you. So yeah, there you go.
Well, we are in the basement and we recently installed a microchip activated door so that only certain cats can come down here with us. So
that's smart. That's cool.
So this is a safe haven for our cat Melody, who is the biggest wimp in the world. She's my hippie cat. She's all like love and light, love and light. I'm like, will you just beat the crap out of your brother once and then this will stop? And she's like, no, I can't. So
I love him. I can't.
So she gets to be in the basement as much as she wants. So at some point we'll probably hear the door click. I apologize. The little
that's fine. That's funny. I should do that. I should do that because one of my cats likes to pick on all the other ones. He's got to prove he's alpha.
Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in our house we have 4 cats and there's definitely like an alpha hierarchy. There used to be one, Apollo, who used to, I feel like, be the alpha, but he got asthma a few years ago, so now it's like Jupiter is now the alpha and he like can tell it, and you're like, Jupiter, stop being mean to Apollo, and it's like cats don't understand that. They're like, no,
they've had a rivalry since like birth though, like ever since both of them were in the house. Didn't you say it was because Apollo was first and Jupiter came next? And
yeah, Apollo was the first
about it,
but you know, a little boy.
Cats, man. Yeah, Johnny Storm is he will be we're gonna have a birthday party for him. He will be 1 year old at the end of the month. But he's in his teenage years where he's like, I know everything and I'm the biggest badass, and there's a new sheriff in town and everyone's like, will you just stop with this? I'm like, he's gonna outgrow it. We just got to put a microchip door in to get Melody through this.
I love that we have a bunch of cat lovers today. For those who are listening only, we have an amazing 2 guests with us today. I've talked very highly about the Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast. I've been on the podcast 3 times, and as you know, I'm obsessed. And we have KJ and Johna from the Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast. Hello!
Yay! So excited to be on your show. Thank you.
I'm very excited, especially because we have a very exciting top 10 today. It's something that we all love. It's a subject that we can all talk in length about. And frankly, it should be a national holiday, and it is the top 10 Chris Evans roles. Yay!
Yay! Well, I will tell you, Tia, it's very fitting when you say it should be a holiday because Captain America's birthday is July 4th. Mm-hmm. And coming up in July, it will be our 2nd annual Christmas in July, where we do the 12 days of Chris Evans movies. So this is all perfect timing to kick off our holiday season of celebrating Chris Evans.
Didn't I tell you, Brittany, that they have, like, not only do they have Christmas, but they have a Chris Evans update on their podcast. I'm like, we need to start doing that. Like, believe me, I will tell you that when I was on your podcast, I was like, what are some tips that I can bring over to the top 10?
If you need me to do a weekly, like, drop it in, and now here's KJ with the Chris Evans update. I can be like, you guys, the Chris Evans update is now syndicated.
I feel like I need an update for like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I was like,
she's
that's I do have an obsession, but you know what? I'm not ashamed of it, Tia. I won't take the slander from you.
I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan too, so it's fine.
If you go back into have we posted it? I think it's in the classic episodes on
the classics. Are you talking about where he tweeted us?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Gosh, we're gonna get so off topic here, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Brittany, We did an episode, and actually, I think it's still on YouTube.
Yes,
It's
I think so too.
it's way back on our YouTube channel. I'll have to go find it. But we were doing an episode where I don't know, for whatever reason, we were talking about cheese and Jeffrey Dean Morgan's beard, and I
I don't know why.
So the tweet was like, listen to the new kind of nerdy girls where we nerd out about cheese and Jeffrey Dean Morgan's beard. And he tweeted back at us and was like, I love cheese too, but I'm a little disappointed that my beard didn't get its own episode.
So then we did a whole episode tributing Jeffrey Dean Morgan's beard.
That's amazing. I would have died of happiness. There's just a thing about older men and playing villains that I'm just all about.
I get it, girl.
Yes.
So there's two things that Brittany loves, and I feel like you guys need to know this before we move on. One being, of course, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and the other being she loves the movie Silence of the Lambs. She loves Hannibal, whether it be Anthony Hopkins playing him or Mads Mikkelsen playing him.
Okay, that was my first childhood crush was Hannibal Lecter. So
oh my gosh!
That set me up for failure my entire life.
I just feel like KJ and Johna need to know. It's like any top 10 we do, if she can throw in that movie or the character, she will do it.
Wow.
You would be disappointed if I didn't at this point.
No, at this point I expect it.
She was like top 10 romances. So I was like Hannibal Lecter and Clarice.
No.
And she was like, every time, if it's anything like best villains, Hannibal Lecter. Like I can't remember what one of them. Oh, best TV show, Hannibal. And I was like, every one of it. It's like if it's there, I will fit it in.
She will fit it in. So just want to
I am interested to see how you fit Hannibal into our top 10%.
I can't wait.
I challenge you, anything with Anthony Hopkins.
I know. I was trying to think. I was like going through like the list in my head, and I was like, "What's he?" And I'm like, "I'll figure out something."
Well, before we jump right into the top 10, of course, you always know that I got to give a huge shout out to our friends over at Stranger Damies. They are amazing friends of ours, Dan, Mark, and Ant. They do a D&D podcast every single Wednesday. Make sure you check them out, Instagram and Twitter at Stranger Damies. They also have another amazing podcast called They Call This a Movie, where they break down pretty shitty movies throughout the years, but they do it in a very hilarious way. So please make sure you check them out. Tell them that Tia and Brittany sent you. And before we get into the list, I do want to shout your guys' podcast out. The Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast is very near and dear to my heart. It's amazing. You guys are amazing. So if you want to take a second to promote yourselves. I know usually we do these sort of things at the end of the podcast, but I want to do it now. So there you go.
Oh, well, thank you. Johna, I'm going to ask you to describe our show, but while you try to get those words together, because words are hard, I will tell you that the foundation of the Kind of Nerdy Girls was the fact that I work in I work a lot of Comic Cons. I work for a company called Celeb Photo Ops, and I've coordinated a lot of podcast marathons. And I just got so irritated that every single podcast that seemed to do with anything geek culture was a bunch of dudes. And I was like, well, like I talk about this with my girls, so there needs to be more of this. So I'm so glad that you ladies have your podcast, because women need to be out there being like, we love this stuff. We love Marvel. We love to trash DC. If you love DC, have your own podcast. But yeah, I mean, it really was about, representation. And it's not that we don't want dudes on our show, because producer Patches is with us. We just wanted a full community where no matter where you land in your nerdiness, whatever it is, that there's a safe place that you can celebrate that and have fun with it. So our show is very positive and fun. And our Facebook group is called the Kind of Nerdy Network. And it doesn't matter, like people will hop in there and say, hey, has anyone seen this anime show? And even if none of the 1,200 people have seen it, somebody's going to be like, I haven't, but tell me about it. We want to know about it. So It's a really wonderful little community to join on Facebook. Johna, how would you describe our show?
Our show is just some women who love nerdy things, but we don't get into like canon, and we only kind of know stuff about things. That's really what it is. Like we're kind of nerdy, so we only know probably about this much about what we're talking about, whereas everyone else knows this much.
Yeah, we're not a deep dive show.
And I appreciate that.
it.
As you know, if I was entertained, that's all that matters.
Right. Right. And I don't know if you've ever guested on a show where all of a sudden they start like going into that and you're like, I'm on the wrong show.
Yeah.
It brought me joy. Like that's as far as I can get. It brought me joy.
Yeah, you'll hear us a lot on there. Like, let me Google that really quick. I don't actually know. Hold on.
That's exactly how I feel like I am. But let's get into the top 10. As always, Brittany, you're going to kick it off for us. Let's show our guests how it's done. We are doing the top 10 Chris Evans roles. And Brittany, what is the number 10?
I think you're gonna hate me right off the bat.
Oh my gosh, Brittany, I may hang up on you if I think this is going where it's going.
That's why I said you need another. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going with not another teenage movie when he plays Jake Weiler. And my reason for it is because when I was, you got to remember, I think this movie came out 2001. So I was 7 years old. And my thing about the movie is what I was obsessed with, like those kind of teenage movies where there's like, oh, the girl has like, this I was gonna say butterfly effect, but that sounds weird. This metamorphosis that, and I remember as a kid, my mom was like, you want to watch this movie with me, even though there's some parts you cannot watch. And I was like, yes. And so to me, at first as a kid, I was like, this movie's really weird, but I guess it's kind of exactly like all those movies I like. And I didn't get it was a parody at first. And I know that sounds ridiculous.
Me too, though, Brittany.
I did not realize it. And so, it said it, because it was like, me and Tia just talked about 10 Things I Hate About You and, Mean Girls. And all that. Yeah. And so I was sitting there and I was like, I got to look it back through because I was like, I've seen, things with Chris Evans and I love Chris Evans, but I was like, most of my experience with him was when I was much, much younger, when he was just the pretty stupid boy in movies. And so
I was gonna say, I think people forget that Chris Evans has been around as long as he has. Like, with everyone thinks, oh, he's like new with Captain America. I'm like, Chris Evans has been around.
And there's the thing is like when I was looking back, I was like, he either like looking back then, I love when what's it called? Like the chin strap that was so popular back then, where it's like everything's shaved except for that strip around the jaw. And I was like, man, I think I've literally, time's done you good. I've noticed that a lot with a lot of male actors. They'll be in their like quote unquote prime, and I'm like, I'm not messing with you until you're over 50. Or the other side. Not that he's 50, but you get what I mean.
He'll be 40 this month.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's right. His birthday's coming up.
Happy birthday, Chris Evans.
But I guess it's just for that movie. It was just so goofy. And Jake Weiler was just like the epitome of like the douchebag that's like, oh, I'm going to convince this girl to fall in love with me. But oh no, I've caught feelings. And oh no, I'm the douchebag. It's like, it's just so ridiculous. He had his stepsister that's constantly trying to get with him. He's got, the Mean Girl, what was her? I can't remember her name, but she was supposed to be like Mean Girls, like the Pinks, and like they were. I think the main girl was actually like not the main girl, but that girl he was in love with is like. I want to almost say that she was smarter than him, but like in the like popular way, and he's like trying to win his popularity back. I don't know. The movie was just so ridiculous, and I think I just remember being. Him and the main girl, which I don't remember her name, were just so ridiculous together. It just ended up being one of my favorite performances of his, because that movie never makes me not laugh.
That's true.
So
that is, yes, it's a good one.
So before I hop over to KJ and Johna, I just want to say, Brittany, speaking about 10 Things I Hate About You, remember how we talked about the scene where Heath Ledger is singing, you know, "You're just too good to be true, can't take my eyes off you" on the bleachers?
Yes.
Iconic.
Is it so iconic? But is it not another teen movie when he starts singing "Janie's got a gun" and literally
Yes.
the security's like, "She's got a gun"?
I
Yes.
forgot about
Tased or
that.
whatever. Yes.
So it's like
Oh,
it's
okay.
it definitely took like inspiration from all those movies. I love Not Another Teen Movie for its ridiculousness and because Chris Evans was damn fine in that movie.
So fun.
That's the iconic banana scene in the whipped cream and everything.
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
I saw the other
no.
day it like popped up in my feed. Shocking that Facebook knows to show me Chris Evans videos, but it was when he and Scarjo were on Ellen and they were doing trivia, but really every trivia just led to like another scene of him basically being nearly naked. And she would put like Ellen would put these stills on the screen, and he was so every time he was so embarrassed. Like, is this really happening? I'm like, you do these scenes, like like we're gonna see these and we're gonna have these forever. But then to watch him be like, I can't believe I did that.
He's having an out of body experience those days. He just pretended it didn't happen, or at least so he could play
Well, I
stupid.
mean, he was also so young in Hollywood too, so he was just like, okay, I'll just do whatever it is to get me on the map.
Well,
Right.
Likely. So
to that point, John, I do think I remember seeing something like years ago before he got like the Captain America role where he said that he was tired of doing photo shoots and movies where he was nearly naked because it really just was, oh, you're a piece of meat, like go up on screen and everything like that. So, you know, we respect Chris Evans, obviously. But
obviously.
John,
He did what he had to do early on. We don't
he
judge.
did what he had to do, just like Sylvester Stallone did what he had to do to get into Hollywood.
That's right.
It is what it is.
But Johna and KJ, what do you think about Chris Evans in Not Another Teen Movie?
I mean, I'm total. I feel your sentiment. Like it's like, you know, he was doing what he needed to do, and he did it well. You know, I mean, he was absolutely that like over the top douchebag that role needed to be. And so I'm the same way. I did not see it until much later. And so it was it was joyful for me to like go back and I'd seen like the memes and gifs and stuff like that where I knew about the scene with the whipped cream and stuff, but like to have seen him as, and this is how late it was. He was already Captain America before I went back and watched that movie.
Man.
Wow.
So to like go back and watch that movie after seeing his transformation into Captain America, I'm like, this is just pure pleasure right now. Like this is so fun to watch Chris Evans. I know that he probably would never do something like this again, and it was early in his career again, but like how much fun to just watch him be a douchebag.
For such a smart guy, he plays stupid so well.
He does. He really does.
And he did it in Not Another Teen Movie. Like the seriousness on his face in every single scene was just, I was like, you were so committed to this character, aren't you? Because that scene where she's like painting the picture of her and her mom, and he's like, who's that? She said, it's my mom. He's like, you have her eyes, and they're just like stick figures with like big ass heads. He was so serious, like, you have her eyes. I'm like, what?
That is true.
So much.
He was so committed to being like that dumb.
Yes, he was very committed.
Well, we love him for it. And Brittany, that is an amazing way to start off the top 10. I almost forgot about that role, so thank you. I'm going to move over to Johna. And why don't you give me what you think deserves the number 9 spot?
Ooh, I'll say The Perfect Score. I just watched it the other day.
Oh, that's such an oldie but goodie.
Yeah. I watched it for the first time while I was at work, and I was like, I mean, the plot of it was okay, I guess. These kids trying to steal the SAT answers, which I thought was a very odd plot for a movie. But just, you have such a great cast, though. Like, you got Chris Evans, you got Scarlett Johansson, like, and, you know, then they all, spoiler, they all decide not to cheat on the test, which was fantastic. But like, I just think that it was a good movie, but I mean, Chris Evans wasn't the focal point of the movie. But I thought that it was a good movie for what it was supposed to be.
So I will say that The Perfect Score came out in 2004, so I was 14 at that point. So it's like I almost like related with that. It's like if I could steal the answers to the SAT, because they made such a big deal about the SAT. So it was like I think that's why I like that movie in that sense. But that's right, him and Scarlett Johansson, haven't they been in like 4 movies together?
They've been in a million movies together.
Yes, they have. Yeah, they basically they're both their entire acting careers. They've just done a ton of stuff together, which I think is what really led to some of the best moments through the MCU is because the two of them have been together for so long that they knew how to bring out what they needed to in both of those characters and make those scenes so impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. Brittany, have you seen The Perfect Score?
I actually got so excited because a small story. I sat there, and when you said a perfect score, I was like, wait a second. I was like, let me look this up real quick. Let me see if I've seen this. And I sat there, and the other day I remembered this movie. I didn't remember who was in it. I remember this movie, and I couldn't remember the name of it because I loved it when I was younger. I was like, oh, this is a good movie. And I was sitting there, and I kept getting it confused with the movie where like the hijacker one, like with like where it was totally inaccurate about like the hacking one, like how computer hacking is actually done, and we were talking about it in the IT department, and I was sitting there and I was like, what is this movie? So when you said it, I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. Except Tia, the one thing that always confuses me is from Arkansas, I've never actually taken the SAT. It's all ACT here, but I felt like I could relate in a way.
It's a big test that they make it seem as if it is like the epitome of your life. Like you'll be 50 and telling people what you made on the SATs, and then it's like you get to college and it's like no one could give a flying fuck.
That is.
They don't even make people take the SAT anymore.
They don't?
No.
What a bunch of garbage.
I'm pretty sure
I don't like that.
So, I'm not happy
I will say, Brittany, I grew up in Wisconsin, which is also an ACT state. So I feel you there. Like when that movie was out, I was like, what? How come the ACT doesn't get like any love?
Like, no one cares about the ACT.
No,
I didn't ask to live in a state where they made the ACT the test. Like, can I get some recognition here?
No. They said fewer numbers.
What's that, Brittany?
I was saying, like, I said, it didn't get the same respect because they score it in higher numbers, and they're like, you know what, we're not going to go, 20 something, 30 something. We got what does the SAT go up to?
Like, it's like thousands, right? Like 1,400, stuff like that.
1,400 is a perfect score, I think.
I thought they raised it to like 2,400 now.
Oh
it was like at 1,600, I think, when I took it, but I could have sworn they raised it after high school. All I know is all of high school, ever since like freshman year, it's like they drilled it into you. It's like you'd be learning vocabulary words, and they're like, "This is an SAT word," and you're like there, and you're ready, and then I'll tell you, I remember I made a 1,200, which is not very good.
Okay,
I was also somewhere around there.
From the girl that took the ACT who scored a 27, I'm like, wow, 1,200. You're like, no, that's not good.
That was terrible. But
I'm gonna take my 25 and die.
That's why I went to a community college, because community colleges don't look at SAT scores. They couldn't give a shit about it. I was like, I'm just gonna get in. I'll take the placement test because I don't know if for you guys where you are if they do that with community colleges, but our community college is like you take a placement test so they see like where you're at, and then when you go to the next college, then they just look at what you did in the community college. So I'm like, I don't even give a shit about this SAT crap. So, there you go. But I do love A Perfect Score. I haven't seen it probably in over 10 years. So I feel like now is a perfect time to revisit it. So
I just love the fashion in the perfect score because it's that
Because it's
early
that
2000s.
peak
Just like I'm just like, oh God, did we actually dress like that back in the day? My goodness.
Yes, we did.
But do you
I just-
see? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brittany.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, for that movie, it's like I'm trying to remember exactly like the characters individually. I do remember did it not end? Tell me if I'm wrong, because it's been so long. Didn't they have like an ending thing? Like, you know how like movies used to do the little montage at the end? It's like so and so ended up at this college,
Yes.
and you know,
Yeah.
did it not have that?
Like a Legally
Yes,
Blonde.
it did.
Yeah.
It did have one of those.
That's perfect. I love it.
The thing I remember the most about the perfect score was there was one character. It may have been ScarJo's character, but again, it's been so long that she was painting her nails with like whiteout, and like me being like 14 and all punk, and I was like, that's so cool. She's not even using nail polish. She's using whiteout. That's so cool.
Oh
That
my
was
God.
ScarJo's character.
Yeah.
His goth face.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I like Scarlett Johansson
Not a
from the
face
jump.
mom.
It's not a phase mod, it's a lifestyle. But Johna, great job with the number 9. KJ, I'm gonna move to you. What is your number 8?
Okay. So I do want to say that this is stressing me out a little bit because there's so many great roles. And I'm like, what if I say something right now? But then one of the other roles that I wanted to make the list, I like didn't get in soon enough and I don't have time. So I'm really out of
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to stress you out. I should say that Brittany and I always say that our list isn't really a linear list. It's
Okay.
it's
Okay.
all
Yeah.
there.
All right. Well, because I do know now that Brittany is such a big fan of JDM, and this is one of the movies that I would like to be on the list, I'm going to throw it in right now, and that's The Losers.
Oh,
Oh,
love that movie.
Oh my gosh.
A+.
Such a great movie. And Chris Evans just did such a good job in that role as Jensen, where, you know, and it's so funny because it opens up and he's kind of doing the patriotic talk and it's kind of making fun of his Captain America role, like it's poking at it. And then he's so like, he's not Captain America, but he also, even though he's kind of a jackass, he's got this huge heart. And I just thought he like played that role so well and like so endearing to see him cheering on his niece's team and wearing the pink, you know, Petunia t-shirt. And I just like it just seemed like a role where he really got to like show both sides of like, it was almost like a transition from these like kind of douchey characters into this, like, I have substance, right? Like,
He was more nerdy, and I loved it.
Yeah. And, you know, him dancing in the elevator. I mean, it was like all the things that Chris Evans is good at, all in one role. Just absolutely adored that movie.
Yeah.
It was very nice seeing that softer side of him, where because normally it's like I'm the big bulky, I am the super buff dude. Look at me, and it's like I love those. Trust me, I love those. But I'm just saying, it was nice to see kind of like that. What's it called? Like just a different side of him, to see more of like the smart guy, the goofy guy, the one that's just having fun in the role instead of just like the exact like centerpiece of the movie.
Yes. Yeah.
And there you go, Brittany. You got your Jeffrey Dean Morgan in there. So
How am I gonna fit Hannibal in here? You know, I looked up. I said, I said Sir Anthony Hopkins and Chris Evans, and I can't find anything.
I don't think they've
of
ever
that
been anything
together.
together. But freaking The Losers has such a great cast, right? You do have
Yes.
JDM, Chris Evans, Zoe Saldana. Was Idris
Idris Elba.
Idris
Elba.
Elba.
Yeah.
So it's like you have this amazing cast. And I love it. I love these, like, I love the Marvel universe. DC, no. But you know,
Save that for when you're on the Kind of Nerdy
Yeah.
Girls again.
But
Josh
I-
and DC over on the Kind of Nerdy Girls.
but I like when we can take a break from like the Marvel superhero to other comic book things that aren't as
Yes.
serious. They're a little bit more edgy. And I loved Chris Evans' character in this. As you said, he's so outrageous and he does it so well. I mean, he stands out in that movie. And I just love his look. I love his acting. amazing. Isn't there that scene where he's like, pretending to like be like telekinetic and everything, but in reality, it's like I love that. I love that. It was so good. It's such a great movie.
Yes,
Johna.
I like what you said, Brittany. Like that, that he was kind of nerdy. Not to like. Chris Evans is kind of nerdy, but it was like this fun. He's a nerd. He's kind of a dork, but he still has this like swagger with the ladies, and like, and then he's got you see the huge heart that he has as well. It just and to be doing what he did with that huge cast around him and still stand out, that to me, it just really showed his range and his capabilities as an actor, and it was fun to watch it.
Yes.
Oh, I agree, because I think like one thing is like oftentimes like for me and Tia especially, we often end up liking the side characters even more than the main characters. Though JD Morgan is the main, so I can't fully say that. But
come on, Brittany, come on, that Chris Evans shine brighter than JD.
I can't go to the Chris setting. Stop trying to sway me, Satan. I am trying to stay with JD Morgan, and you're trying to do this to me. That's how it is.
The girl knows what she likes, and she likes JD Morgan, but
and Sir Anthony Hopkins and Matt Nicholson and
we've done. Oh yeah, really quick, Brittany. This is such a random interjection, but KJ has met both Jon Bernthal and Lee Pace.
I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna fight you.
Never in the moments that I was standing with them was I like, I am doing this specifically to ruin Brittany's life.
You know what? I think you know what? I don't believe you. I think you already do. I think you have like some kind of like future vision, and you went, that girl, I'm about to ruin her career.
Wait, KJ, at some point, do you have the picture of you and Lee Pace? Because I just love the height difference. It's continuously
I do. Johna, can you, right next to the Thor Ragnarok poster right there, you'll see me and Lee Pace. It's the most awkward photo I've ever taken with a man. He is way too tall. I've never posted this on any social media because honestly, where my head is just so like he's leaning over.
Can you see that?
Can you see? He is leaning over, and I have heels on, and I am standing at like tiptoes because legitimately, like my eyes and his crotch are they're at the same level.
And is that a bad place to be?
But it was awkward because I adore him. And I was working his booth. So I was like, as soon as all of his photo ops are done, like I'm the one that comes in and I've stopped showing it to you because it's so awkward. I'm the one that's going to go in and be like, Mr. Pace, you're done. You did a great job. Thank you so much. And like, can I get a picture? And like, as soon as I walked in to do that, like he knew I wanted a picture. I knew I wanted a picture, but both of us knew it was going to be the most awkward picture. And so it was like, just take the picture. Oh my God. Like, oh my God.
Post it.
No, I can't.
I love, and I thank you so much, KJ, for humoring me there. It's my favorite picture. Like it really is. I
will give you permission to, if you decide you want to post this as a video highlight. It never in my life can bring myself to show the picture of how awkward Lee Pace and I are standing next to each other.
It's so endearing though. I love it. Like I never sit there and go, oh, that's awkward, or like laughing at you or him or anything. It's so the height difference is so comical.
I didn't realize ridiculous. How tall he was because he looks like imposing as Ronan, right? But you would assume that they did that on purpose, right? And like maybe he's in the Chris Evans like height or something like that. And then when you look it up and it's like 6'5" or something, it's like holy shit. This guy.
I'm telling you guys, that is a low estimate. He's 7'8". I swear to God, like I walked in the room and I was like, there is no way this man is this tall right now. Like he can see over the curtains of the photo op booth, which are 9 feet curtains. I swear to God.
Oh my gosh.
And again, like I said, Tia, like it was shocking because not in any of his roles have I ever thought that guy is so tall.
Yeah,
Until
no.
I was right there with my 4'11" self going, well, this is going to be weird.
I will say like one last thing, like I again assumed he was definitely in like the 6'1" range or something, but because he always seems to have roles with people who are like shorter than him. Like I'm a huge fan of the actor Scoot McNairy. I don't know if you know who he is. He's been in like a ton of things if you looked at his
I
filmography.
love Scoot.
And him and Lee Pace and Scoot McNairy are in the show *Halt and Catch Fire*, which is a very good show I talk about all the time. And Scoot McNairy is like on the shorter side, so when they show them, it's like you just assume it's because Scoot is like shorter, but you never think it's like, oh, it's because Lee Pace is literally like a giant. So
Right. Well, and that's what I thought too. Like I loved Pushing Daisies, but he's opposite Kristen Chenoweth and she's tiny. So there was never a question. I was never like, he must just be gigantic, until I was there.
Until you
Prepare
were
yourself, Brittany.
I
Someday you will walk into a room with Lee Pace and you will be so glad that I warned you for all of the things you weren't expecting.
That's the thing is I'm really, really hoping because it's like, and Tia could tell you there's a lot of times it's like, it seems like every time I want to get a photo up with somebody, something happens because I loved Mark Shepard, from
yes.
Supernatural.
Oh, I love
and,
him.
and his wife went into labor right when I was supposed to the day before, but we were at the convention doing photos, and I was like, man, there's so many people, but between them, like, I just want a photo with John Bernthal or JD Morgan, or just I would take anyone at this point.
But
honestly, never mind.
Honestly, Brittany, that was like, I know you really wanted a photo op with Mark Shepard, but
I did love mine though.
But it did kind of work out because the guy who replaced him was Tomo Pennicott, the guy who played Goodrill in Supernatural, and that was a great photo op. So I appreciated that. But anyway, sorry. KJ,
sorry, back to Chris Evans. Please respect Chris Evans.
Great pick for number 8, Jensen from The Losers. I'm gonna hit number 7, and I'm gonna do Andy from Defending Jacob. Listen,
yes.
Our man's Chris Evans can do it all. He could be
heroic, girl. Okay? My man understands the role. Okay?
He understood the assignment. He could be funny, he could be heroic, and he could be serious as shit. When they were promoting Defending Jacob, I was like, this looks really interesting. This looks like something we really haven't seen. Well, I'll have a few other roles later down this list where it's like, yeah, he can do serious, but like Defending Jacob was so good. Like the freaking tenseness, and you were on the edge of your seat every episode, and I watched that weekly. I was like, who did it? And just seeing Chris Evans as this like loving dad, and he's this successful lawyer, and then to slowly see things just tumble down where he's defending his kid, and he's then dealing with his former colleagues against him. He's dealing with the fact that his wife doesn't believe that his son is innocent, and just seeing everything spiral out of control was just such a great role for him. And I'm telling you, I felt so bad for Andy at the end of that freaking show. I was like, it was so intense. I freaking loved it. But KJ and Johna, it seems like you guys watched Defending Jacob, so I'm gonna definitely go to you guys and ask, like, what'd you think of him as Andy?
I loved it. I literally sat, and it was just perfect timing because we were in quarantine when it came out. Right. So it was just kind of like, oh, well, what else am I going to do besides watch something that Chris Evans is in?
Oh, exactly.
It was just so, oh my God, that scene in the car where he's like, did you kill him? Did you kill him? And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, look at my man with all of this range. I just can't deal with it anymore. And it was just so good. And I mean, like you're rooting for him, and you're rooting for the fact that, oh no, Jacob didn't kill this kid. Like he couldn't have. Like, he's just like a little baby.
I don't know. I was pretty convinced from like the jump. I was like, this kid's a psychopath.
There was a couple of times where I was like, okay, maybe he did kill that guy. Maybe he did kill him.
I think that was the beauty of the show, because sometimes, I mean, I was so stressed the entire time watching
Same.
this. Like, oh, it's just like, I don't even like, what am I doing? I shouldn't be watching this. I'm going to keep watching this. I'm going to have a heart attack. I need to stop this. But it was, I still to this day, like sometimes I'm like, I'm still not sure he didn't kill that. Like I'll just like, I'll like randomly think about it. Yeah.
You should watch it again.
No, I never want to watch it again.
It was
Never.
But it was amazing because both listen, I know this is a Chris Evans podcast, but I do have other Hollywood crushes as well. And Pablo Schreiber was also in that. So it's like, you know, you had the best of both worlds there.
Yeah.
Brittany, I know that you didn't watch Defending Jacob, but I'm sure I've told you about it. I'm sure I've sent you clips and everything. So what do you think about my pick?
I was gonna say, you can understand when she was watching the show, every time she said, Brittany, I don't know if he actually did it or not. I don't know what's going on. And just her pure just amazement, because she's like, I'm so sure he did it. I'm so sure he did it. And then one day she'd be like, no, I'm not so sure. I mean, what if he didn't? But, you know, for Chris Evans' character, you know, I really hope, you know, that he didn't do it.
Well, because I felt bad for Chris Evans' character because it's like he had this bad childhood. We got a little bit, first of all, his scenes between him and J.K. Simmons.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Amazing. So good. And so you're like, all right, he, you know, grew up this really bad upbringing and he just wanted like this nice life, this little cozy, you know, existence in their nice little house and everything. And this freaking kid, of course, ruined it by being a psychopath. But it's like, you still don't. That'll do it, right? And you still don't fully know if he did it or not. Because again, spoiler alert, like, yeah, he confessed to killing her, but it was when his like mom was driving at like what 150 miles per hour on like a rainy road and shit.
Right, because then you're like, well, of course he's at this point, of course he's gonna say whatever she wants him to hear him say he did it. So he's like, I did it. You're like, and then they hit the fucking side of the fucking bridge.
I
and
want
I'm
y'all
like,
to know how stressed I was watching that scene. Like I was just laying in my bed and I was like, okay, she's speeding up a little. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh God. And then it just smack into the wall. Oh no. I was like, everybody's dead now.
The ride with them?
Oh my God. It was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you did. You felt like you were in the car, and everyone gave such great performances. But I think that, you know, what stood out about the show is, even though you are in the space of the, did he do it? Did he do it? Maybe he did, maybe he did. But you're seeing it through the eyes of Andy, and you're stressed about it because you don't want Andy to be hurt. Like, you're like, I got the protective bubble around Andy. And no matter how it goes at this point, this is a freaking mess. This is destroying him, you know? And that was kind of like what I thought was really cool about how they told the story, is that it's not just a murder mystery type of thing. You're getting in the head of a father who, at this point, even if the kid's innocent, the damage that has been done, the psychological issues that this kid has, there's no way that that this comes out where Andy's okay, you know, and that's the stress behind it.
One of my favorite scenes from that show is him and the female cop, right? Where, you know, they had obviously worked together, and I guess he's trying to ask her, like, to, you know, help him out, like, we're friends or something. She's like, are we though? Like, have you ever invited me over your house? Have I ever had dinner with your family? You know? And I'm like, I don't know why, I just love that little scene where it's like Andy really was just grasping at straws, being desperate. And it's like, we get it. This is your kid, but you're also a lawyer and you should know how the procedures go. But it was so good. I love Defending Jacob. I don't know if it's getting a second season or not, because it's based on
think so.
No, right? Because it's based on a book, and they already finished like what the book did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily know that you would want to go back to it. I think revisiting that takes away from the actual story that was told.
Yeah. Takes away from the ambiguity of the ending.
And honestly, I don't want to see that kid ever again. Whether he did it or he didn't do it, he's a friggin' like, he's a hot mess that needs a bunch of counseling and probably needs to not be in public.
Man.
So I
Let's just talk about how fine my man was looking in those suits, though. Like, let's talk about
How about that beard? How about that beard?
Oh, that beard, yes, bro. Okay.
I'm a clean shaven Chris Evans girl. So there were
it
a lot of talks about his beard while defending Jacob was going on.
was looking real fine. Nice
I
and
thought
trimmed
so.
up.
I thought so. The only thing that I'm not the biggest fan of Chris Evans is his and listen, I think long hair looks good on some guys like Loki and freaking Thor, you know, blah blah. But Chris Evans, when he had like the middle part with a little bit of like long hair, I wasn't really feeling it.
I like slick back long hair better than I like the middle part long hair, but
he was rocking that like
no matter what he looks like.
He was rocking that in the one where he like ran a resort and everything like that. But it was Red Diving something or something.
Red Sea Diving Resort.
Yeah,
that was a good movie.
It was good, but I didn't like the hair.
It's not a good look for him.
Yeah,
that and when he did that Broadway show and he had the mustache. I shudder just.
You know what though? Not for nothing. So like really quick, like 2 or 3. It was like 2 years ago. During like a No Shave November, I did this list like honoring all the great mustaches in Hollywood.
Oh, God.
And I did put him down. I was like, I can't help it. I love this little mustache. But yeah, so my number 7 is going to be defending Jacob. Brittany, we're back to you. What do you got for us?
You know, I'm really torn because I don't want to accidentally steal somebody's. I'm just like, I'm over here vibing. I'm just like,
just vibe, girl, just vibe.
Yeah, just okay. I'm sorry. Can I go ahead and take Johnny Storm?
Yes, Johnny Storm.
As long as he's on the list. I mean, as someone who owns a cat named Johnny Storm, he needs to be on the list. So I will let you have this one, Brittany. He made it. It makes it less stressful for me.
I was talking to you. I was like, I don't remember everything I've actually seen because it's like it takes me forever to watch certain movies because I get really attached to the characters and the emotional trauma that some movies put me through with characters. I'm just like, can I actually watch this? The reason I'm going to go with Johnny Storm is because, you know, growing up, that's the first superhero movie I can think of was a Fantastic Four. And, you know, growing up when you have Johnny Storm, you know, he's so fiery, he's so cocky, you know, he has fire powers. Because, I mean, the whole like flame on thing was like the coolest shit to me as a kid. I was like, this is amazing. And it just fed into like that childhood dream of mine where you're like, you know, I wish I would get into an accident. You know, I wish I would have powers or something. And, you know, he just came into it so naturally. And I think, you know, it's like he was always supposed to be like, I'm the teenage heartthrob, look at me kind of person. It's like, you know what? You just play your like most like cocky kind of douchebag self. But you know, he's still kind, he's still a hero, but he's cocky. You know, he really makes me think of Star-Lord in a lot of aspects because that cockiness, like, yes, I am the best. And it's like, but are you not really?
Yeah, Star-Lord is the worst.
We hate him.
Star-Lord is the worst. We can talk about that another time. Don't you dare compare my Johnny Storm to Star-Lord. I will fight you.
They're Star-Lord haters, Brittany.
I didn't know. Oh no. Oh no, I feel attacked. No.
Star-Lord needed to make a better choice, and I will never forgive him for that. Never.
You feel like a preschool teacher. It's like you made bad choices today.
Yeah,
you're not proud of your choices you did today.
You don't get a gold star.
You know. By the way, I figured out how to relate this back to Hannibal.
Let's hear it.
In the Fantastic Four movie, Matt Nicholson actually auditioned, I think, for Mr. Fantastic, but ultimately lost out. So in some aspect, we would have found Matt Nicholson, who played Hannibal, to be in a movie with Chris Evans. So see, it was a reach, but I got it.
You know how they do like the 7. What is it, like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon or something? Like Brittany can do the 7 degrees of like Hannibal Lecter. It's impressive, honestly.
Don't judge
me. Good job, Brittany. You figured it out.
Thank you.
But I want to say, like, it's so funny because, again, like, we love Chris Evans as Captain America, obviously, but it's like I feel as if some people forget that he played a superhero beforehand, and it's like that was in the era of when Chris Evans was playing like really douchey characters.
Yeah.
But I love John.
Yes.
And I know, KJ, you got a lot to say about Johnny Storm, but I'm just going to say a few syllables before I pass it along to you. I loved, okay, people hate on the Fantastic Four movies. And yeah, like, to be fair, they're a little dated at this point. You know, they're a little campy, a little corny. I went back and rewatched them. I was like, I'm still entertained. I was like, I still like this. I mean,
I love the Fantastic Four movies. I think
yeah,
they're great.
I think they're
Yeah,
great.
I
And
think I agree. I'm like, I sorry, Tia, you keep going, but I totally agree. I think they were good for what they made them to be.
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. I mean, we still had the Stan Lee cameos, which were great. You know, I love the explanation of their getting their powers. I love Johnny and his whole. I love how he was like this man whore and everything.
Yes.
And the best is in the second one where he's so mad that his powers are like, you know, fucking up, and he, you know, gets the powers of the thing, and it's so funny. He's so good in that role. So KJ, yes, I will let you take it away, and Johna as well, about Johnny Storm.
Well, I mean, I will say when Chris Evans was cast as Captain America, I was a little stressed about it because I'm like, Johnny Storm is not Captain America. Oh my God, like, they cannot do this to us. But once that, so I had like this stressful time until I saw the Captain America movie. Like, please don't be Johnny Storm. Please don't be Johnny Storm. And then I'm like, okay, cool, you did it. You're Captain America.
He's
That's great.
multifaceted.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. And that was the thing. Like, this is what, like, really, sort of like, I'm like, I love this guy. He can be anything, but in his role as Johnny Storm, he did everything that character is. He played off the charming part, the kind of cocky part, that he still loves his sisters, and he still wants to do things that are right. And he's really smart, but you forget about that because of all of the other things that he is. Like, at the end of the day, he's actually, he does belong on that team. He is a genius. He just isn't like a book nerd about it. Like, he's like the cool nerd. And you're like, man, I want to hang out with the cool nerd.
The coolness overpowers the nerd part.
Yes. And so to like see what he did in that role. And, I mean, at that point with comic book movies, I mean, they were really kind of in their infancy. If you go back and watch it now, no, it's not the MCU. It's not even close. And is it much campier than what the comic books were? Yes, but that was their take at the time, and the version that they gave of us was entertaining. So, like, I mean, how can you not love this guy who's like, instead of the other ones who are being tortured by the fact that their DNA has been altered and there's so much responsibility with this, and he's like, screw it, look at this, I snapped my finger and I got fucking flames.
Like, as Brittany was saying, the fact that like he was like flame on, it's like you ate that shit up. And I guarantee today, if like that version of Fantastic Four was done today, they wouldn't have him say flame on or something like that. And it's like the fact that they were just so okay with doing shit like that back then.
Yes.
I don't have and I'm sorry, John, I don't mean to interrupt what your thoughts are on Johnny Storm. I was just going to say, there's so many things that I loved about those movies. As someone who's not the biggest comic book reader, I will say that my only complaints really about those movies is I don't understand why Jessica Alba was wearing a wig. It's like you couldn't have just dyed her hair. And the wig in the second one is so like obvious that it's a wig.
So bad. Like, what is happening there? Like, I agree.
That's my only real complaint is the wig. And I know that seems so minuscule.
Before Johna, if I can just say one more thing before we go to you. I have this, I mean, I want to will this into reality, that this will happen at some point during the MCU with Chris Evans being done as Steve Rogers and with the multiverse opening up, I
I know what
would
she's gonna say.
just love a moment where they're in some other like parallel universe or something is happening and Chris Evans shows up as Johnny Storm.
Yes.
Do you know that was supposed to
Like-
happen in Deadpool 2? Did you know apparently that was the thing that Ryan Reynolds wanted? You know, at the end when he's like killing his other selves and everything, it was supposed
Yes.
to be that like Johnny Storm was supposed to show up in that. They were gonna have Chris Evans, and I'm like,
Oh my gosh. I mean, like, I just feel like this would be such a perfect way for there's no fan who wouldn't want Chris Evans back, but also we respect the Captain America storyline. And so like how fun would it be if you're sitting there watching this and it doesn't even need to be a full movie, he doesn't need to be in it very
Just a
long,
cameo.
but it's just like
yeah.
like everybody's like so confused, Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, and everybody's so confused because that's not Captain America, that's Johnny Storm.
Isn't
Like
that Steve?
yeah.
No,
they-
that's Johnny. Okay.
He's like, I'm not Steve, I'm Johnny Storm. And he like
Steve?
flames on and takes off.
Listen, if they were
This is
able,
WandaVision.
well, I was gonna say if they were able to bring Evan Peters in as like, not really Quicksilver, but a play on Quicksilver, and if they were able to bring in J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, why can't we get freaking Chris Evans as Johnny Storm?
No.
But
Just how much fun would that be for
That'd
him?
be
Like,
great.
we're gonna bring you back, and your cameo is not Steve Rogers from another timeline.
Nope.
You're freaking Johnny Storm.
I love
That-
that.
Oh, it would be brilliant.
that-
Chris Evans, please do this. Thank you.
but Jonna, what are your thoughts of Johnny Storm?
I loved Johnny Storm. I mean, I loved the fantastic. I tend to be a person who loves movies that people think are shit.
Me too. It's okay.
So like, people were like, that movie was so bad, and I'm like, did you not watch it? Like, it was such a good movie.
Were we seeing a
Like,
different movie?
yeah, like, did we sit in different theaters or something? Like, but I mean, it just the way Chris Evans played that role, and like KJ said, like, yeah, Johnny Storm is smart, but he's cool at the same time, and your coolness factor always overshadows your smart factor, like always. So when people think that you're cool, they automatically think that you're dumb. And it didn't help that he was also kind of like a slut a little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
It's multifaceted,
Yeah.
many layers.
Do you guys
Layers.
remember in I want to say the Suicide Squad because I'm referring to the 2016 version of Suicide Squad, but of course James Gunn had to make that like difficult for me to say the Suicide, not James Gunn's version, David Ayer's
yes.
version of it. And when Harley Quinn says to Diablo, she's like, can you light a girl's cigarette? That would be really classy. And it's like, that's exactly what Johnny Storm does. It's like, while Diablo looked like all like sullen about it, Johnny's like, here, I got your cigarette.
Right. Yeah, I think Chris just played that role just like so well. Like, and I mean, of course, he was in his douchebag character phase, but he still played it like really, really well. And I love the Fantastic Four movies. I'll probably watch them later today, honestly, because
You know what?
I know,
love
I'm
this.
really feeling it now.
loved those movies. I thought they were so good. And Katie, she's not here, so she can't defend herself. But she's
a
does not-
hater.
She hates the Fantastic, hates them.
See, I like,
no.
and I
But
even
they're
like
so
the guy who
good.
plays. I even like the guy who plays Doctor Doom in it. Like, I understand that comic book purists probably didn't like his costume or whatever problem they had with that version of Doctor Doom. I don't know. I guess because I grew up with that, those were the versions of those characters for me. It's like
Yes.
when I think of the Fantastic Four, I thought of them.
Yes.
Which is why when they did the new Fantastic Four, I was like, they all look like children. I was like, at least like these look like adults. Like you can,
Right.
conceive that they're scientists and everything. And then when they showed the cast for the 2015 version, I'm like, they all look like they're 12.
I just
Yeah.
loved that they got two of the people that I love the most to be Johnny Storm. They got Chris Evans being Johnny Storm, and then they have Michael B. Jordan being Johnny Storm. And I was like, oh yeah,
That
this
is the
so
only
great.
good thing about that newer version is Michael B. Jordan.
But the
being in there.
MCU saves everyone who was in Fantastic Four movies because he came out as Killmonger and
That's right.
He killed it,
That's
man.
true.
Yeah,
No man
Killmonger,
left
Johnny
behind.
Storm. Killmonger is clearly the better one.
Yeah, he's the winner, obviously.
Hey, listen, I do sometimes like think about, we had that Marvel sizzle reel that came out not too long ago, and they just gave us that very brief little Fantastic Four logo, and I was alone, and I'm like, did that just happen?
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, I should not be freaking out about a logo for 1 second as much as I am, but Johnny Storm, there's going to be another Johnny Storm. Like,
Well,
like,
isn't
oh my
that-
God,
going to be Johnny Storm?
I mean, isn't that what we freaked about? Like, because didn't they announce it? Did they announce it during San Diego Comic-Con like 2 years ago or something like that? Or maybe it was the Marvel thing I'm thinking of, like the Disney thing where they were talking about the properties that they were coming. They announced like all the shows and everything. Yeah, I remember they were like,
yeah.
and it's like so cool to know that that's on their mind, because it's like ever since they acquired Fox, it's like, oh, are they doing anything with these characters? And it's like, yeah, they are. We're gonna see Fantastic
Right.
Four.
And they're so important to to Marvel in their history. They're like, they're the first family of Marvel, and we haven't seen them in so long, and they didn't get to be a part of the MCU. And I'm sure that they are taking their time and getting this right, because it's going to mean so much to the fans when we can actually have a Fantastic Four in the MCU. So the fact that they even just gave us that little logo for a second, I was like, it's real now. It's real. There's a sizzle reel, and that's a Fantastic Four logo, and it's happening. Like, I don't know how soon it's happening, but now it's happening. So
I am really excited to see who's going to play these characters, who's going to play Johnny Storm. I know a lot of people have fan casts, and I'm like, I'm just going to sit back and wait. As long as they don't look 12. As long as they don't look 12, then I'm okay with it.
And as long as I get my Chris Evans Johnny Storm cameo somewhere in the multiverse.
Come on,
Right.
Doctor Strange too. Come
Come on.
But yeah, Brittany, great. Johnny Storm. As you can see, we are like geeking out about some Johnny Storm here. It was one of Chris Evans' like most iconic roles, so how could you not love it?
Definitely.
But John, I'm gonna go back to you for the number 5 slot.
Ooh, okay. It's not number 5 in my heart, but it's definitely like a very good movie. Gifted.
Yeah.
Have you seen Gifted?
I actually have not seen Gifted. That's probably one of the only things that I.
You.
But you can still gush about it. You could still gush about it.
Yeah, we're here for it.
We're here for it.
So it's you'll just love Chris Evans so much in it. Like I think it's his sister dies.
It's his niece.
And he ends up being the sole guardian of his niece. And it turns out that she's like gifted, like she's really smart, and it's kind of like a Matilda, but like a more serious type thing.
Yeah.
She doesn't have like telekinesis or anything like that, but she's just like overly smart to be like 5 or 6 or however old she is. And like you just see like Chris Evans's character, and I think his name was Frank. Like you just see him struggling so hard with wanting to be like this, hot single man, but he has to be like a father figure to this little girl. And then her teacher, played by Jenny Slate, Chris Evans' ex-girlfriend, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah, that's right. That was a hot second thing, right? Okay.
Yes, it was.
But she is the little girl's teacher, and she's like telling him like, hey, like, your niece is gifted and she's really smart, and I think she should go to this like fancy school or whatever. And he was like, no, when my sister died, like she wanted my niece to be a normal kid and like go to a normal school. And then like, his mom comes and tries to take the daughter away, and Octavia Spencer's in it. She plays the neighbor, and like it just you're on the verge of tears like the whole movie.
He's in this caretaker role that you've never seen him in before, and it's just really, it is beautiful to watch him play this character who had a life that he's real happy being like the single guy doing his thing, and then to like realize like I've got to protect this child, I've got to make the best decisions for her. It's like you're like that whole time you're just like, oh, he just loves this little girl so much, and he's doing all the right things even though everyone around him is telling him what he should be doing. He's trying to honor his sister, he's trying to honor this little girl in the best way. And There's a cat involved in this movie. I won't like spoil anything, but the cat is very, very important, to the point that when we were watching this, there was a moment where my husband, producer Patches, got up and left the room because he was like, I can't watch. And I'm like, no, come back. And it was the movie where he met his dog.
Yes, I was just gonna say that.
They were filming
his like real life dog.
Yes.
Dodger. Mm-hmm.
So when you watch Gifted, the scenes that they are doing when he goes to the shelter, they actually film that in a shelter. And while he was there, he met his dog and wasn't trying to adopt, but like Dodger was like, Chris Evans, you are my human.
You're my dad now.
Right. And so
I love that.
you have to watch it just because
so
it's
good.
so beautiful. Yeah.
And he just does such an amazing job playing that conflicted, like, I want to be this, hot boy summer type shit. But he's like, no, I have to be a dad.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be, because like I'm an auntie, so it's like it's hard to that line where it's like you're you're the fun auntie uncle, but like you have to be that authoritarian role with the kid as well. So he kind of struggles with that a lot too, because he wants to be fun Uncle Frank, but he's got to be Dad Frank,
Yeah.
So
I have actually seen this movie, and I just didn't remember. I watched it with my mom. It's been a really long time, but I remember my mom loves to watch sad movies that pull at your heart. And I'm like, Mom, I can't do this. And I always go, well, I'll sit in here with you while you watch it. And then I end up watching the entire thing and crying like a big baby with my mom the entire time. This is a good movie, but you're right. It's like, he's wanting to do the Playboy lifestyle and he doesn't have time for a kid. And it's like, well, now you do. You do. You're a daddy now.
And the little girl's performance is really fantastic as well.
Makes me cry.
Yeah, they really had a really good chemistry on screen. Their scenes are very moving.
And I mean, even their like interviews that they do, like when they were on like the press tour for the movie, like they just together, like you can just tell that she really looks up to Chris Evans as kind of not like a dad, but like as like a cool uncle. Mm-hmm. And like they just have such a good time together. And I was just like, oh my man.
It will bring you like all the tears. It will bring you all the tears, but it's a very moving film.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen like the GIFs and everything. I think we talked about I live on Tumblr, so you type in Chris Evans and there's GIFs of him. So it's like I've seen those. I just haven't seen the actual movie. Probably because
we're all cat people here. You got to watch the movie where Chris Evans has a little girl and a cat.
And a cat. All right.
There's a real life dog in it. Like that.
I know I love that. I think that happened to John Bernthal as well. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could have sworn that that happened in a role, probably in Daredevil with the dog and everything.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. But yes, love that. I will definitely put it on my list to watch. I'm sorry I haven't seen it.
That's okay. That's okay. So this is when we do the 12 days of Christmas in July. We will have the list and we watch them together in order. Mm-hmm. So it's a whole bunch of people, like on Tuesday night, we're all watching Gifted, and then, people are chatting about it. It's really fun. So it will be on the list.
Of course.
That sounds like a good time.
Oh man, Brittany, you're gonna love it.
So fun.
We have a Christmas tree. It's it's.
Oh my God.
I've seen the tree.
Like a logo for it too. We have like a Christmas logo, and it's got like a little Chris Evans like cartoon on it.
And one of our members in the Kind of Nerdy Network is actually making a Chris Evans tree skirt for us.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
We're very serious about Christmas.
Is it Patches? Is Patches?
Nope, it's not
Patches.
Patches.
It is not. Christmas in July is Patches' least favorite thing that I do.
He hates it.
We need to get a holiday for him to feel this passionate about.
He has we call St. Patrick's Day here St. Patches Day. He gets a tree. He has a tree for St. Patches Day. So I have a tree for Christmas in July. It's a thing.
Can I say really quickly about St. Patrick's Day?
Yes.
My family is Italian American, right? but we celebrate St. Patrick's Day as if we're Irish. And the only reason is because my grandmother's name is Patricia. So it's like for some reason, and it's a tradition. My grandma makes corned beef and cabbage. She makes Irish coffee. You know, she puts green everywhere, and it's like you would think we're Irish in that moment. So we too very much celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So there you go. We can all celebrate.
Well, if you ever
year.
want to visit on St. Patrick's Day, know that it's St. Patrick's Day at our house. The tree will be up, and we all exchange green gifts. So
really, I love that.
Oh my gosh, our nephews don't realize that this is not an actual thing. Like they're living their life thinking that everybody has a tree on St. Patrick's Day and they exchange green
They're
gifts.
gonna start asking their friends, like, so what do you get? And they're gonna be like,
what do you get for St. Patrick's Day?
Brittany, why don't we do
awesome.
things like this? I'm feeling
because
like
you don't love me.
Because you don't.
You need to stop your shit.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty in here.
You're coming here in October. You may not have a place to sleep.
No, I love sleeping. I need a place, please. You know I love you.
But KJ, let's move on to our number 4 spot. What do you got for us?
Oh gosh. You know, I had Johnny Storm and I had Gifted and defending Jacob and all the things. I'm gonna go because this has got to be on the list, if for nothing else, for the sweater, Knives Out.
Yes.
Freaking fantastic.
Oh my God.
And Knives Out. And again, like, played
I just
the
talked
roles.
about this the other day with my mom.
He played that role so well that, you know, like he was, I mean, you're kind of like, he's got to have something to do with it, right? But at the same time, then you're like, no, when they're sitting in that restaurant, I'm buying his shit there. Like, I'm believing he's
you're like he's a douchebag, but he's not a killer.
right. Oh, just so much fun. And again, you know, like when we first started watching, I'm like, there is not enough Chris Evans in this. Like, when are we going to get to the Chris Evans? But the way that they did it and the parts that he had leading up to where then he is this, like, becomes this bigger character in the story, you're like, yes. Like, this is what I wanted to see. But then you're also like, oh crap. He's a terrible person.
I'll tell you, I knew he did it from when he first stepped onto the scene. I was like, he did it 100%. I knew he did it.
I thought it was way
too obvious.
Nope, I kind of felt that in the trailers when you saw the trailers and he's like, eat shit, and you're like, oh, it must be him.
I love it.
Yeah, but I think they did a good job of continuing to misdirect you, and he did a good job of playing that role where you're like, he's probably capable. Nah, he's just a douchebag. Oh, he wouldn't even care that much to kill someone. Like, there's just this like constant like, it seems too obvious, and then no, there's no way. Yeah, he was fabulous.
Also his name was Ransom in it, so I feel like that was
Drysdale.
Yeah,
I love the sweater game that he was displaying on that, and I will say that yes, while I was like really 100% convinced that he did it, there were small moments where I thought maybe he didn't do it, just because he did seem as if he really just didn't care that much about his family. Right. So it's like, why would he go to this lengths?
Exactly.
And I really liked the exchanges between him and Ana de Armas. I love them working together. But his character really took this great turn where it's like he's just a douchebag to he is a killer because he went to try and go kill her. Like, he went to try and kill her. And I was like, oh my God. Chris Evans, what you doing? What you doing there?
Right. Oh no. This is getting really uncomfortable and bad, and I don't want you to do this.
Honestly, like, that's one of my favorite scenes, like that whole thing. But like where he grabs the knife and tries to stab her, and then he keeps trying to stab her, even though it keeps going into the thing.
Yes.
And then when she throws up in his face, I was like, oh my God, that is the he was just like, oh my God.
I will say
what's happening.
I love that movie, right? I really love that movie, but I hated that aspect of the movie. because I get
Same.
very queasy. Like I tell people all the time, like, listen, I want to be like the best, gal pal ever. But if we're out and you start yakking, I can't hold your hair. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. Like someone
Yeah.
else is gonna have to hold your hair for you because it ain't gonna be me. So when that
I'm a
happened, I was
sympathy
like,
vomiter.
Are you really?
Yes, if someone's throwing up around me, I'm like, oh my god, I have to leave the room.
yeah,
I have to leave,
me too.
or I'm gonna vomit too. Like I can't do it.
I have to like step aside, and it's like,
Mhm.
all right, I'll check on you when. And believe me, this
Yeah.
is how I've had experience. My friend Cindy, we have been friends for like most of our lives at this moment, and we have had plenty of moments where she's, you know, doing her business because it,
Mm.
and I've had to walk out of the room and someone else has had to help her. Brittany, I don't think
I am going to be a great support to you on the other side of the house.
It's okay.
Brittany, I don't think
Don't
I've
worry, you
ever had
got
to
it.
do that with you. I don't know if you've ever put me in that position, so I thank you for that.
And maybe the time I got sick and then locked the door on you and you panicked because you were like, this bitch better not
Oh.
die. And in fucking New York.
Yeah, but see, I
New
wasn't.
York.
I still wasn't holding your hair at that point because I was like,
I
no,
know,
you
you're
do
just like, please make sure you don't die.
exactly.
But, it's, I always laugh because, it's like I'm from Arkansas, but I'm also my parents' only daughter. And so, when they think, oh, she went to New York, big, scary place, they're always like, please don't get kidnapped. Please don't get murdered. And she's sitting over here like, please don't make me have to deal with your parents.
Yeah, I was like,
And,
please don't make me have to call your parents and say that you like died from alcohol poisoning in my like bathroom.
hey, we didn't say it was alcohol to you. Don't call me out like this.
So, but yeah,
Uh,
that movie is great. Brittany, you need to see Knives Out. Next time you
I
come
know.
here or I go there, you
I
need to watch
It's
that.
on-
know.
It's on Amazon Prime. Just
Oh,
FYI.
man, I do
Yes.
have. I do have some.
It's on Prime. Watch it.
It's so
It's so much fun. It's just a really great whodunit movie.
And I
And the
believe
cast is all star, dude.
the
Yeah.
cast is like beautiful. Wasn't that one of Christopher Plummer's last roles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and he was fantastic. His relationship
so good.
with Ana de Armas's character
Oh.
was so amazing. That's what made me the saddest in that. I was like that they
Yes.
couldn't have more scenes together, and I was like, why would you
Yeah.
do this to us? God damn it, Chris
know.
Evans.
Yeah. And then you the plot twist at the end when you find out how he died, you're like, oh my god. Like
Yeah,
like
I was
that-
talking
like,
about
yes.
that. I'm
like, this
sorry,
shit
John.
hurts. I don't like that.
I was talking
heart
about that
hurts.
with my mom actually yesterday because it's like you sit there and you're like, wait, he didn't need to. Oh,
No.
Mhm.
I know it like
Yep.
breaks your heart. Oh,
It
yeah.
broke my heart. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Knives Out is great. Chris Evans in that is amazing. His sweater game, how snarky
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
That whole thing was so good.
Did you see that he got his dog one of those sweaters?
Yes, I did. It was so good.
Yes.
It's like,
I
who
like the skin
decided
paint.
this? Like, Ryan Johnson, I want to know what the process was where he's like, all right, we're going to have Chris Evans come in. He's like really bulky and everything because he just finished doing like Captain America, but I'm going to put him in like the cuddliest, warmest sweater ever.
Yes.
He knew what he was doing.
Yes.
He definitely knew what he was doing with that freaking
It's like
movie.
every single woman who loves Chris Evans is going to see this trailer and that sweater, and they're going to be like, I'm watching that movie.
Yep.
For no other reason.
Patches didn't even really want to see it. He's not big about going to theaters. He likes to watch things at home. And I went and watched it by myself because I was like, no, that is Chris Evans and he is in a sweater.
I also saw that.
And
movie.
yeah.
I didn't
I
see.
will-
I saw that at home. I saw it much later after it came and went in theaters and everything, and I was not disappointed. But I'm kind of
Yeah.
like Patches. I'm not the biggest theater goer. Like I can wait.
Mhm.
The other day, I went and saw A Quiet Place Part 2, and that was the first time I've been to the theater since Spider-Man: Far From Home. So
Oh
it's
my
like,
goodness.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been
I
a
miss
long
the movie
time.
theaters so much.
Yeah.
I miss going
Well,
to the theater.
Can I tell you really quick? I kind of don't. I went there and I was like, this is why I don't like going because I go there and it's like, have you guys seen A Quiet Place? or even like the first
No,
one?
but
or
I
something?
never will because I don't like to be
I don't like
scared.
scary movies.
Yeah,
Well-
we're wimps.
And I'm not really a scary movie person either. It's just like it was my boyfriend's birthday. We wanted to do something, you know. We had seen the first one, but you know, the whole movie's like very tense. It's very quiet. Obviously, it's called Quiet Place, and it's like you have like there was 3 groups of people like.
Ah.
And then there was this person right next to us, like on their phone with their bright ass light. And I was like, I remember why I hate coming to the movies because now I can't concentrate on that. I'm concentrating on these people with their freaking conversation and everything. What are you talking about? Like, that's don't come to the theater if you're gonna do
Yeah,
that.
I really only like to go to the movies. I mean, Knives Out was a little bit different, but I do enjoy the experience of when like one of the Marvel movie when they come out and
yeah.
They're an
like when
experience.
They're
it's an experience to watch it with other people. And I haven't been in a situation with a Marvel movie where anyone was really talking, except for, you know, when Cap got the hammer and Johna screamed in the theater.
Okay, look.
Screamed in the theater.
That's understandable.
I blame you.
No, she screamed,
Look.
that is so hot.
Look.
Yeah, the whole theater lost it
Look.
because they all heard her.
Look.
That is so hot.
This is what happened, okay? He got the hammer and everyone was screaming and cheering and like it was just so fantastic. I was like, oh yes, this is great. And then he started whooping Thanos' ass. And I was like, yes, whoop his ass. I was like, this is so hot. And then, but that was at that moment where I was saying that the whole theater had gotten quiet and I thought that it was still gonna be loud. And then everyone heard me and I was like, oh fuck. I was like, oh, okay. I have to leave now. I think it's dark in here.
I was like, man, I wish somebody was recording this on their phone right now.
No.
Like this would be one of the best reaction videos.
Well,
Right,
this is
that's
so
awesome.
hot.
the
It was
Marvel
a good. That was a hot scene. I don't know what. Don't let anyone tell you different. When Cap got that hammer and was beating up Thanos, that shit had me going. Okay.
Listen, the Marvel movies are completely different. Like when I saw Infinity War and Thor's, you know, blasting down into Wakanda, the whole entire theater was like, ah! You know, just like going crazy. And then in Endgame, when the portals started, when Cap, you know, freaking lifted Mjolnir, we all were like, yes. So it's like it's different, obviously. No, one last thing is that so I got to see Endgame, right? Like before it came to the masses, you know, I was able, fortunately, to go see with other press people. So, you know, everyone's like really intent on watching it and we're cheering when it's appropriate to cheer. But then I went and saw Endgame when it came out for everyone. And the one thing though is like I got to the theater, right? We're all sitting there and there's like this couple a few rows in front. And right before the movie starts, the guy like turns to her and he's like, so I know that you've not seen one Marvel movie, but it's okay. I'll explain everything as it goes. And I was like,
No,
what do you mean you're going to
better
explain
leave
everything
right
as it
now.
goes?
You will not.
Not now, she won't.
So
This is a
mad at
sacred
that.
place.
It's like
I just watched this TikTok the other day, and this girl, she was like crying or whatever, and she's like, so I just had to stop talking to this guy because they went and saw, I don't know, I think it was like Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that, or like she was watching it with him.
Yeah.
And he was like, why is there a tree? Why is this? Why is that? She was like, that's Groot. What are you talking about? She was like, so I had to stop talking to that guy because he just wasn't understanding the way that I was feeling in the movie. And I was like, I get that, girl.
I get that girl.
Yeah.
It's understandable. Oh man. I can't wait to see another Marvel movie in the theater. I will say it. Black Widow, it's coming. It's coming out.
I
soon.
know. Well, I'm a little torn. Johna, we may have to figure it out because PopCon is the weekend that Black Widow comes out. It's our first con, and we're doing the TV show live and all this stuff. But I'm like, but we have to see Black Widow.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We have to.
We do.
We're gonna have to figure that out.
You're gonna have to
like
squeeze it in at some point.
Maybe if we can plan ahead, which is not something we're very good at.
The worst at.
We're terrible at it. But maybe Black Widow will motivate us enough to plan ahead that we could go see it on Thursday.
Okay.
So
That
then
would
we
be
get to talk
awesome.
about it at PopCon.
Yeah. Just let me know because I might have to work Thursday.
No, you will take Thursday.
You'll
night
take
off
off.
right
Okay.
now.
It's a
You will
holiday.
take off.
I'm already taking off for all of PopCon
Thanks,
weekend.
Lord.
I was
Yeah,
like, oh, PopCon off.
Yep. And now you're
Who
taking
needs
Thursday off.
money?
Got it.
Who needs-
Anyway,
I got 2 jobs. I'll be fine.
we
It'll
can
be
figure
fun.
out our schedules and how we're going to see Black Widow another time.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna do that now. This is the perfect.
Well, I
So
mean,
Brittany,
Everybody
get the
pull up
calendar
your
out.
Google calendars.
I got the calendar ready.
Tia might be here for PopCon, so she also has to go with us to see Black Widow. So,
Oh,
you
that's
know.
true. That's true.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it because I have a bridal shower that I need to go to that weekend, but we could talk about that off air.
Yes, that's another, yeah. We can play.
But whatchamacallit it? So I think we are up to number 3. And it's my turn. And I'm going to pick a role that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, but I feel as if it's truly one of Chris Evans' like best roles. And it's going to be of Mike Weiss from Puncture. I don't know if you guys have ever
haven't
seen
seen
Puncture.
Puncture.
I haven't.
No.
No.
See,
you-
it's so
you need to put that in the 12 days of
Yes.
Christmas. Yeah.
So, like, really quick, just to explain it, Puncture is based on a true story. It's all about this whole controversy of back in the day when the rise of HIV was very high, and nurses and doctors were getting it from patients when, you know, they were getting stuck by their needles and everything. There's a company that made syringes that were one-time use where literally it would poke and then retract in. So it was supposed to be a safety thing, but because it cost literally like 30 cents more than the regular, hospitals weren't using it. So the movie follows a nurse who unfortunately contracts HIV through sticking a patient, and then the patient, you know, writhing around and it hitting her. And we get Chris Evans as Mike, who is a lawyer, who is a great lawyer, but he is a massive drug addict. You see Chris Evans take a lot of drugs in this freaking movie.
Oh, dear.
And so it's like,
Wow.
so it's this whole movie of him combating his drug addiction with desperately trying to help this woman, because he becomes very like involved in it, where, you know, even his business partner saying like, this is not a winning battle. We're going up against hospitals and organizations that do not want to do it. And he's like, but this will save lives, and we need to desperately save lives. And there's just so many great roles. He like goes and speaks with someone at some point, and it's like he's all into it, and all of a sudden his like nose starts bleeding and everything, and the woman's like,
Oh no.
you know, she knows obviously he's abusing things,
Yeah.
you know, he's overdosing 1,000 times in the freaking movie. He's also shirtless 1,000 freaking times with a bunch of tattoos everywhere,
Okay.
you know, so, you know.
So it's like real life. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Without the drugs.
Without the
Without the
drugs.
drugs.
But I ignored that part. We're
We'll
focusing
just
on the
ignore
other.
that part. But yeah, I really, really enjoy this role of his. It's a very serious role. I think Chris Evans plays this character really well, and it's not something I've seen him do before, playing this like really conflicted drug addict who is trying to balance his life and honestly kind of failing. You can look up what happened to the real life Mike West. I won't tell you what
It
happened
is a
to
true story.
it is a true story. It's based on a true story.
Oh.
This guy actually existed. And this is a real case. And I won't tell you what happened to Mike. You can look that up, what happens to Chris Evans in the movie. It's sad. But it's a really good movie.
Thanks.
Yes, he dies. My guess is that he dies. I can't watch Chris Evans die.
I can't watch
do it.
I can't
watch
I
Chris
won't do
Evans
it.
Well,
I
all right.
won't do it.
The movie did come out like over 10 years ago. So spoiler alert, yes, he does die. Towards the end of the movie, he overdoses
Yeah, I
and dies,
figured.
unfortunately. But it's still a really fantastic movie.
Great story.
Sorry, Brittany.
Cool story, bro.
Thanks, Tia.
But I really, really, really suggest watching it because it's a really good movie. He's so intense in it, and it's just, you feel bad for this guy because it's like his life is a mess. He's a mess, but he's really trying to do the right thing here when everyone tells him to just stop fighting against it. And to me, I find things like that so interesting because it is a real life thing. And it is unfortunate, not to get to like super serious right now, but it is very unfortunate that hospitals aren't using things like this because it could save a shit ton of people.
Right.
So I did really like that aspect of it. So that's Puncture. I'm sorry you guys haven't seen it. I will hound you now to put it on your 12 Days of Christmas, even though it's super depressing.
We
I
will.
watch
know
it.
we are not putting the Chris Evans dies of drug overdose movie and the 12 Days of Christmas.
Yeah, we are.
I'm
Yeah, we
gonna-
are.
I'm,
We
the one,
totally are.
I'm the one who makes the
Johna
list.
makes
So
the
I'll
Are
list.
you
put it
are
on
you the one who
there.
makes the list? Listen,
I'm the one who makes the list.
I'm gonna find a picture and I'm gonna send it to you guys and everything. I don't know if you want to comment on the movie or we can move on to the next one since you guys haven't seen it. But I'm finding a freaking picture right now and sending
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
a very good reason as to why you guys should see this freaking
Okay.
movie. But
I will say Johna has to go pretty soon, so I don't
Okay.
want her to miss what we're leading up to.
okay, perfect. So Brittany, let's move back to you for the number 2 spot.
I'm gonna go with it, and I'll make this real quick. I'm gonna go Snowpiercer.
Oh,
you
yes,
but I
Snowpiercer.
loved it.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, it was so good. I put it off for so long because, kind of like, when Tia was first telling me about the slip, Brittany, I know what you're gonna think. It takes place on a train. They're in the back of the train. They're getting into the front of the train, but trust me, it's a great movie. And I remember, Tia, we watched it the last time I was in New York, right?
Yes, we did.
We did. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh, this is good. This is really good. Like everything matches up. This all makes sense. The post-apocalyptic feel, the fact that the super wealthy live up to the front, they're living so good. Curtis's character, oftentimes when we get a hero, there's nothing wrong with them. And, it's like Captain America has his flaws, but he's not super flawed. He's kind of like he does things to a flaw. But with him, going back, and it's like, yes, I'm, trying to be the leader. I don't want to be the leader, but I'm trying to take care of people. I'm trying to be that person. I'm trying to sacrifice everything. And I sit there and I'm like, he's great. There's nothing wrong with him. And then you learn what he's done in the movie and the past, and you go, oh, that's pretty awful. And you almost sit there like,
Those
can
are
I
his
still
actual
like
real-life
him?
tattoos too.
Sorry, I just showed Johna's distracted by the picture
Sorry.
Tia just sent us.
Sorry, Brittany.
No,
What a babe.
fine. That's a good reason to be distracted. We already know.
But yeah, sorry, go ahead, Brittany.
Oh no, it's just like, we do have a moment where you're like, he's amazing, there's nothing wrong with him, and then you sit there and you go, that's pretty much my mom. I don't know how to feel about that one. And I don't know, he was very attractive, very straightforward. And it was like almost he felt like Captain America again, except with a much worse past.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
I love Snowpiercer. I really like Bong Joon-ho as a director. This was his first English-speaking movie. I love and I eventually grew to love the concept. At first, the concept seemed a little strange to me, but I ended up really loving it. Loved Chris Evans' character, his journey, his story, how he felt, what he had to do in the past, his regrets. So many fantastic action scenes when he's staring at the other guy from the other side of the train and he's aiming the gun and everything. Just so good. Such a fantastic movie. Johna and KJ, what do you think about Snowpiercer before we move on to the number 1 spot?
Katie told me to watch it. She was like, it's Chris Evans on a train, and I was like, well, I mean, I love Chris Evans, but I don't want to watch a movie on a train.
Right.
Looks
It's a
stupid.
weird concept.
It's such a weird concept. It's like, who pitched this to
Yeah.
the company? It was like, hey, let's put the world ends, right? But they're on a train.
For
okay?
17 years.
Yeah. And
Yes.
like it just, but obviously I went into it, I didn't see a preview or anything for it because I watched it like so much later than when it came out. And I was like, oh, obviously Chris Evans is going to be like, the main character, but probably a more affluent character. And he wasn't. Like, he was just in the back of the train and he was like, fuck this. We're going to the front, okay? And I was like, do it. But it was so heartbreaking to see all the characters who were like, we're going to the front, and they like most of them die, and then
Mhm.
spoiler, Chris Evans also dies, which very sad about that shit.
Yeah.
I
And,
saw
Yeah.
gets his arm freaking cut off and everything.
Yeah.
Although
Oh,
it was more
man.
of like a journey for him because he was so regretful about not
Mhm.
sacrificing one of his limbs. So it almost became full
Mhm.
circle for him. So I did,
Yes.
yeah.
I think that's
sorry,
one of his most iconic roles, I would say. I loved Snowpiercer. I mean, as gritty and uncomfortable as it made you, like it was a very good movie.
which I
Yeah,
will
I
say,
do remember watching it going, if this was not Chris Evans right now, I would not be watching this movie
Mhm.
because I am so uncomfortable. Like this is just like it just but it, I mean, the message was important, right? There's so much about it that it's like, yeah, this is, garbage the way that we have these classes and the way that we're so the world ended and we're still being shitty and having classes. Like what the
Yeah.
heck?
Which
I
is-
mean,
it's very much
ahead.
a Bong Joon-ho theme. All of his movies have to do with something like classism, elitism, things like that.
Mhm.
Just always done in a very peculiar way, which makes it super entertaining. Which is another reason why I don't know how I feel about the show Snowpiercer. It takes place
Yeah,
about
I
10
haven't
years.
watched it.
It takes place 10 years prior, and there's not one single mention of Curtis. And I'm like, where's Curtis in this? Like,
Right.
bring back
Yeah.
Chris Evans. So.
right.
But Brittany, I love that role. I do.
No, I know you do.
It's one of my
Yeah,
favorite Chris
I was like,
Evans
is this
roles.
okay?
It's one of my favorite Chris Evans roles of all time. He does such a fantastic job. We are down to the number one of the top 10. As I always do, I like to lead up to the number one and everything. So number 10, we have Not Another Teen Movie. Number 9, we have The Perfect Score. Number 8, we have The Losers. Number 7, we have Defending Jacob. Number 6, we have Fantastic Four. Number 5, we have Gifted. Number 4, we have Knives Out. Number 3, we have Puncture. Number 2, we have Snowpiercer. And Johna, you are closing out our top 10 here. What do you got for us? Let's hear it.
Okay. Well, I have to go with the obvious pick, Captain America.
Yes.
But Captain America, the Winter Soldier Captain America. Winter
Yes.
Soldier was my absolute favorite
Me,
Captain America movie.
Johna, this is why. You and me, man. You and
Right
me.
here all the time. I loved the Winter Soldier. I honestly, that's like my comfort movie now. Like if I'm just
Mhm.
sitting at home, I'm like, I'll just watch Winter Soldier again. It's fine. Like it's
It's fine.
just, it's so good. And I mean, just Chris Evans in that role, like that whole elevator scene where he's like, before we get started,
Anyone
does
wanna get
anyone
off?
want to get out? And I was like, yo, let me get out of the elevator really quick. Cause like he was, oh man, it was just so good. And then the whole, like, he's like, Bucky? Like he's just so shook and he cannot kill his best friend. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't deal with this. This is so good. I love that movie so much.
I love that movie. The Winter Soldier, I still put it as my number one MCU film. I know, like, I love Infinity War. I love Endgame.
Right.
There's so many that I love, but at the end of the day, I have to put Winter Soldier there. It is so good. It's a grittier thing. We see Captain America. He's less like a fish out of water, even though he's still so new to this world. He's adjusting a lot better than I think he did in the first Avengers.
Yes.
I love it. So many iconic scenes in the freaking beginning, on your left.
On your
yes,
left. Oh
on
my
your
gosh.
left.
And then when that comes full circle, right? And you're like, ah.
Honestly,
love
that
it.
scene where he's running from S.H.I.E.L.D. and he's on his motorcycle and he just jumps the barrier. Like he jumps off the motorcycle to like get onto the thing and then he just hops back on it like nothing happened. I'm like,
He's so
such an icon.
Yeah.
He's so badass in that. Him like demanding
Yes.
Fury, like tell him the truth. He's angry at Natasha. He's angry at Sharon. It's like,
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's
He's
so good.
so good.
Well, I think he figured out, he's like, well, screw it. I didn't ask to be frozen and wake up all these years later and have all this garbage is still going on. Like, screw all this, I mean, it really was exciting to see him that way. And I didn't have a lot of access to comic books when I was younger, but I did have Captain America. And so, I mean, just sometimes I think about like the entire MCU and I'm like, man, if Captain America wasn't your favorite character, you didn't have as good of an experience as I did, because this whole MCU was like, especially when you got to Endgame, this was like an ode to Captain America. I mean, everything was about, and I remember Joss Whedon specifically saying when they were doing the Avengers, like, we are going to watch the world of the Avengers through Captain America's eyes. That's the beauty of this, is that he is out of time, a man out of time, and he can be confused with what's happening, and he can be conflicted about like what is good and what is not, and they really carried that through every single movie, is that Captain America was the heart of this thing. And kept everybody going, to where in Endgame it was like, yes, we are celebrating Captain America. He's getting everything. He's getting the freaking hammer. He's getting back with Peggy. Like, he is getting, like, he's getting everything, because from the very beginning, this is the guy that deserved it.
And can I tell you? Oh, I'm sorry, Johna.
No, go ahead. No, well, I was gonna say, like, I think, like, I love Winter Soldier Cap, but I also love Infinity War Cap. Like, he was just he was like, I'm not putting up with anybody's shit anymore.
What did he say? He was like, I'm not asking forgiveness, and I'm done asking permission. I was like,
yes. I was like, yeah, you tell him, okay. And his language was like so much more like a little bit, not Captain-esque. And I was like, okay, we're getting bad boy out here. And I'll tell you, Tia, there's this guy who's like been flirting with me for a while, and he hates Captain America. Hates Cap, and I was like, we can't even be friends because you hate Captain America. Like, that is my number one superhero.
That's a red flag,
like,
right? Red flag.
He likes Batman and like Venom, and I was like, ew, gross.
Yeah, he's making bad choices for sure.
But Chris Evans as Captain America, just in any movie, but especially like Infinity War and Winter Soldier, you just see him turning from this goody two shoes, I don't know what the hell is going on, to, you know what, forget it, I'm gonna do whatever I want, but it's gonna be for the greater good.
Yeah, Cap has always been like that, where it's like, how could you think that he wouldn't go against Sokovian Accords? It's like he, believes in, goodness, but not in the way that it's done today, or with, all these like, bullshit pretty much. I love the Winter Soldier version of Cap. There's so many iconic scenes in that, when Natasha's like, public displays of affections make people uncomfortable. He's like, yes, they do. And she's like, kiss me. He's like, yeah, I feel uncomfortable. And I just love so much of that shit. But Brittany.
And I took that personally.
Brittany, what do you think about Captain America, specifically the Winter Soldier Cap? Which, by the way, hang on, before I go to you, Brittany and I also do have a crush in that freaking movie as well. We are big fans of Frank Grillo, Crossbones.
Yes,
so
we are.
That fight scene between them two on the elevator.
Chef's kiss right there. That was so good.
Go ahead,
I was gonna say, I love that movie especially. I know Tia said, I think this is your favorite Marvel movie. Is that?
It's my number one, and even like there was a hot second where I obviously put like Infinity War and Endgame up there because and it's they're still like in the top 5, but I have to be honest with myself and say that Winter Soldier is still the best one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Is it unanimous here? Do we all agree Winter Soldier is the best?
It's pretty, I would say. But, I love getting to see that grittier version of Captain America, because it's like, you already love him. But, when I went on my float trip yesterday, my friend Hannah was like, in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he did that to the shield, because I'm trying to avoid spoilers or anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you not think Captain America's killed people? She goes, yeah, but not like that. And I was like,
he literally I think he threw someone in the propellers of the plane and everything.
Yeah.
He did.
It's like, come on, bro.
We blocked that out, guys. We blocked that out.
And I was just like, I said, he's killed people. And she goes, yeah, but that was different. I'm like, I get that. I see you. But, I mean, this man is a World War II soldier. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, he tried to be
Brittany, you're breaking up there.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay. You know what's funny is I'm on the Wi-Fi and I'm right next to the router. What's up with that?
It sounds
But-
like you like occasionally just run to the other side of the room and yell
Yeah.
for a little bit, and then you come back.
Well, I was gonna say, what's it called when you join the military? That you're like, I'm a peaceful. Oh wait, when you get drafted and you're like peaceful and you don't want to kill people, so you end up being something else.
Mm.
I can't remember what it's called, but never once did we see that Captain America tried to do that. He was like, "Yeah, I want to go to war." So I'm kind of like sitting there. I'm like, this man's killed people. Don't treat him like
Steve Rogers used a gun in the first Avenger. So he
He's
definitely
he's not that man.
He not that man. But really quick before we continue, Johna, I believe that you need to probably hop off or something like that. I mean, I don't know how long it takes you to get to work. I don't want you to be late or anything. But you could just say that Tia from the top 10 held you up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I already texted my manager and I was like, I'm probably gonna be late, just FYI, because I haven't even brushed my teeth or anything yet.
Oh
so,
my gosh, go brush your teeth, woman. Get to work.
But I want to talk about Chris Evans.
I know.
I love Chris Evans.
But
Well,
Johna,
and-
we love you. I'm so happy that you're able to join on the top 10. If you want to really quick plug yourself and let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me at kindanerdygirls.com with KJ, or you can follow me on not Instagram.
Yeah, you're on Instagram.
I am on Instagram at it's Johna_, and then on Twitter at _it's Johna_. I would like to put in my honorable mention for Chris Evans, Push. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Yes.
Oh,
Love
she's so
Push.
good.
I-
Yes.
Katie told me, she was like, Johna, that's not. She's like, it's not a good movie. I was like, that is a fantastic movie.
I
You
love
got Chris
Push.
Evans. You got Dakota Fanning. Like, come on. Like, what?
Yes,
What do you
Corey
mean?
Stoll.
And
Yeah,
Corey
like,
Stoll's
it's-
in it.
Yeah.
Really?
God, it's such a
really
freaking
quick,
good movie.
For us at GVN, Joanna and I did a Throwback Thursday review of Push like a year ago, and it's still the
Nice.
highest performing freaking video on this YouTube channel. People
Nice.
love Push. It's like
It's
Push
good.
is great.
I don't get where
Where the
where
hate
the
comes
disconnect was with it. It should have had another movie. It should have. I mean,
Honestly.
it's that good.
I loved it. I put it in the 12 Days of Christmas last year.
from.
Yep.
And it's so weird because me and KJ talk about it all the time, like stuff that brings you like comfort, I guess, that you can like fall asleep to. Like, I love this so much that I've seen it enough that I can fall asleep. During the 12 Days of Christmas, like, I turned on Push and I fell asleep because I was just like,
Yes.
but I've seen it so many times,
Right.
and I just love, and just Chris Evans' voice just put me right to sleep. I was like, yes, thank you.
The perfect way to fall
Bedtime
asleep.
story, Chris Evans. I love it so much. So yeah, that's my honorable mention for Push. And then follow the Kinda Nerdy Girls on Twitter and join the Facebook group, the Kinda Nerdy Network.
Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Johna.
Johna.
Hey,
Yay.
Have fun at
Bye,
work.
All right, go
Bye.
sell some
Having
love
me.
sacks.
I'm gonna try.
Woo!
Brittany, while we're on the theme of honorable mentions, do you got any for
Yes.
us?
I had, let's see, I had Fish on there. I had, let me see here. Oh, Lucas Lee from Scott Pilgrim.
Oh yes,
That
we can't
those
forget
eyebrows.
I sat there and I had never seen it until Tia, and she was just like, I have a movie for you. And I was like,
It's just all those eyebrows. I think it's hilarious.
Yes.
KJ, do you have any honorable mentions for us today?
I do. The movie, did you guys see the movie Before We Go? It is Chris's directorial debut.
Ah,
I highly recommend it. It is not a romantic comedy, which kind of what I thought it was at first. It's more of a romantic drama. Just a very interesting two people who are in very different places in their lives, but very much drawn to each other, and the conflict that comes from a relationship that they want to have, but maybe shouldn't have. I just thought he really did a fantastic job. And maybe because I I was proud of him and wanted to cheer him on in this movie because it was taking a step behind the camera. But just a really good story that doesn't quite it's a little more realistic look at life and how messy relationships can get. And it starts with just like one night that wasn't supposed to happen, and then the ramifications of that and how things get complicated. It's a really, really good watch, and very he gives a very emotional performance, and it will make you sad, it will make you angry, it makes you cheer for them, then it makes you go, you guys should not be together. Like, it's just like it has you like all over the place. But a great job both on camera and behind the scenes. So that's my honorable mention.
Nice. I'll have to
I
definitely
love
check
that.
it out. My honorable mention, the movie itself isn't really that great, I'll be honest with you, but I liked his performance in it, and it's called The Iceman. I'm not sure if you ever
I
heard of
haven't
that.
seen that.
Yeah, it's he's not the lead in it. The freaking lead is Michael Shannon. But Chris Evans plays essentially a contract killer, but kind of, I want to say, a bit of a more dangerous version of Jensen. Still like this kind of
Okay.
like playfulness and everything. He has really long hair in like the first
Oh,
half of
God.
it. Yeah, it's like so trippy to see. But his performance is pretty good. So again, the movie isn't say like that necessarily great, but I definitely recommend it for Chris Evans. But yeah, I think we did an amazing job with our top 10.
Yay.
Who doesn't want to celebrate some Chris Evans here?
Right. Well,
Kate,
and I think like if you look at like the theme in all of these movies, and it really what struck me, especially being someone who loved Captain America, as like that was my first hero as a very young child. And so there was this, I needed an actor to come into that role for me that was going to respect it and take it as seriously and be as committed to it. And I don't think there was anyone better for it. Like, I enjoyed Chris Evans' career before, and then just like really, really loved the fact that he didn't want to be Captain America because he knew what it was going to take, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what made him so good at it. But all of us celebrating all of these movies, that it's like every single time that he does something, he really brings the performance that elevates everyone around him, and that's what I think is so beautiful about him. And all, and it helps that he's a beautiful human being off the screen as well.
You could
So-
definitely tell that, which is so great. And I was going to say, like, just to echo what you said, I was a fan of his before he got the Captain America role. But I am happy that he got Captain America because people now are more aware of him. So now that we see his career after Steve Rogers, it's just such a beautiful career. I really love it. And what I really love is the fact that you and Johna were able to join Brittany and I for today's top 10. I'm sorry that producer Patches couldn't be with us. Please tell him that we missed him. But
honestly, he would have been here like poo-pooing everything that we were
okay,
doing.
Good. But KJ, before we wrap up today and everything, I know Johna gave you guys a shout out, and I know I gave you a shout out beforehand, but we need people to definitely get hip to the Kind of Nerdy Girls Network. So why don't you give us another plug here?
Well, thank you. Yeah, it is. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, it was a community created, honestly, because as a child, I didn't have anyone around me who loved Captain America, didn't have anyone who understood why I wanted to be Princess Leia so bad. And I really wanted to create something that was a safe, fun environment. So we say of the Kind of Nerdy Girls, you can't be kind of nerdy without being kind first. So everyone who is in our group comes to it with an appreciation for nerddom and a desire to be kind to each other as we approach it. I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by a bunch of women who are incredibly talented and very funny. So if you are looking for a show that is more about feeling like you're hanging out with your friends, we are that. So we welcome you to join the group, the Kind of Nerdy Network on Facebook. In addition to our regular shows, I do a lot of interviews with celebrities. So I just recently talked to John Schneider, and he said, all the right things about Smallville, which made me so, so happy. One of the few DC things that I do celebrate. I mean, we talked to him. I had Tiffany from the 80s on the other day, and I fangirled out so much with her. So celebrity interviews, a community of really fun nerds, and you can find everything. Our shows, our Facebook group, all the things, just go to kindanerdynetwork.com.
Awesome. Please, everyone, make sure that you check that out. I hope to be on this Tuesday.
Yay!
Brittany, please let everyone know where they can find you. I know that you have been busting your ass recently and everything, so please let everyone know where they can find you, what you got going on next.
I was gonna say you can always find me on Twitch at Itty Bitty Brit. I'm probably gonna play Little Nightmares tonight, which it's Sunday now, but I'll probably be playing it for the next few streams and playing Final Fantasy 14, which is an MMO. But I don't know, I've had a really good time. I did hit 2,000 followers that I was really excited about.
Congratulations!
I'm very excited and hoping to get a lot more consistent again now that I'm out of college for the summer, but I did do my double internships and the whole working for parents thing. So I'm like, must get back to consistency. And I'm excited because Arkansas Comic-Con is back on again. And so hopefully I can do my my Gerudo Link cosplay. I don't know. I'm very, very excited. I'm ready to get back to I don't know, some normalcy within my own life.
Yes. It's exciting to have the cons back. Tia, if you don't mind, I'm so terrible at promoting things, but if you don't mind, speaking of cons, can I give a little plug to PopCon here in Indianapolis?
Please, yes.
Of course.
July 9th through the 11th, PopCon. It is a actual convention that is run by fans for fans. So of all of the cons that I have been to around the world, even though it's in my backyard, it is one of my favorites, and I highly recommend that you have the experience. In addition, this year, I have a show that our Kickstarter to get a full season on TV kicks off next Saturday, the 12th, and it's called Paranormal Crossroad, and it will be the first time ever at PopCon, and I think any convention that a paranormal TV show will be live, will be recording, showing evidence, having our spirit medium on with us. So if you're itching to go to a con and you're willing to travel, come to Indianapolis July 9th through the 11th, and you will have a wonderful fan experience. And you can find out all about that by going to my personal website, which is kjontheair.com.
Absolutely. Please, everyone, make sure that you check that out. Check out Brittany's streaming, her gaming channel on Twitch. She's a very dedicated streamer who spends lots of her time making sure that she entertains you all. Please make sure that you follow KJ, because that is amazing to hear. I am so happy and proud of you. And I wish I could go to PopCon this year, but if anything, next year. And you guys definitely have to come over to New York Comic Con as well.
Yes.
As for us, please make sure that you're following Geek Vibes Nation. You can go to geekvibesnation.com. It has links to all of our social media platforms. Please make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Geek Vibes Podcast. I just did a interview with Tyler Main, who plays Black Star on Jupiter's Legacy. Unfortunately, it got canceled, but there are rumors of a spin-off, and we could see his character come back for that. So that's very cool. As for me personally, you can make sure that you check me out on Twitter and Instagram, TC_Stark. And Lady is making an appearance now, so say hi, Lady. Say goodbye to everyone. And thank you all again. Please let us know what your favorite Chris Evans roles are, and we will see you later. Bye.